Yo, welcome back to another video. If you're a newlywed man, this video is exactly for you. If you have been trying to make the gym consistent, but your efforts isn't reflecting. Okay, so to be consistent, you really need three things: identity, system, and relationships. A lot of coaches will fix the system, give you a better workout, maybe give you a better workout plan that fits your situation, have a better plan that saves you time, all of that good stuff. And that applies to nutrition too. They work on the system, but they don't tell you what actually makes the system work. How do you adhere to the system? Well, it's not accountability because you've already hired coaches, you've hired your friends, or you told your friends to keep you accountable, and it doesn't work out. And so, what you have to understand is people who are successful have a different layer and a different level of identity work that they are in. And so maybe you value people pleasing and you don't know it. You try to please people, you don't set boundaries because you have your self worth in serving people. Now, I'm a big believer in loving people and serving people, but when it comes to drawing boundaries, that is the gray area not a lot of men know how to do. And so let's imagine, right? You are a people pleaser, you have a workout planned, you have a workout plan for the day, and then a coworker spontaneously asks you to go eat out. You can't say no for the sake of your life because you put your self-worth in serving other people. Now, with people pleasing too, it's a little bit funky. This is just one example of identity work, by the way. And people pleasing was an issue with this man right here. We worked on it some, and he just adhered to the system I gave him so much better. Okay. Now, this transformation, by the way, it's not even a result of fully being out of people pleasing. This photo is actually just the systems we gave him. Now, we worked on people pleasing later because that's what came up. Now, imagine if he was able to completely get rid of people pleasing in his life. Imagine the results. It would be crazy. It would be crazy. So, let's go back to here and talk a little bit about identity, because identity is what helps you become the man who can uphold the system. I want you to think about this box right here as a machine. Each point is a part of the machine that needs to work. If one part fails, everything else falls apart. You can't get the result you want. You are in the same position. You don't have the muscle. You have the fat. Not good. So all of these things have to have a check mark. Otherwise, you're not going to go from point A to point B. A lot of coaches will tell you to do something in the workouts, fix your nutritional plan. All of that is good stuff. Okay, I'm not saying they're not, but those things just follow number two. What needs to happen for you to go to point B, where you want to be, is for everything to have a check mark. That's why I focus so much on identity work, because that's what actually be that's what actually helps you become the operator. And so if you look over here, you're going to find that having muscle and losing fat, that comes from the operator and the operations, which is another way to look at it. People focus on the operations so much, the systems, the gym workouts, how many sets to do, recording the number of reps you do in the gym, logging it, tracking it, whatever. But they don't focus on the operator. They think that they can remain the same person and then get the results. And they think that partly too, not everyone, but some people think that the process and the grind of trying to be consistent helps you become the operator. Like, yes, to some extent, but you also have to understand that limiting beliefs come from somewhere and your traumas come from somewhere too. And that's the work that I do. I uncover all of those things in your early life or maybe in your midlife, okay? And I just take those away so that you can actually move instead of trying to hop through obstacle and obstacle again. That is a very stressful thing to do because it requires willpower, and willpower, whether we like it or not, is very limited. So please don't rely on willpower. Please don't rely on willpower. Now, people pleasing is one example. I want you to think about this too. What happens if you miss a workout, right? We're not perfect. No one is. Nobody online you see is, not even the fittest person. What happens if you miss a workout? Are you going to feel guilty? Are you going to easily just move forward and not feel bad? A lot of people will feel bad, and I was in that same boat for years and for years, and I thought that that was normal. And then I quickly turned that into something to be prideful of, because I didn't want to miss a workout, and I used discipline to adhere to a program. And so the more workouts that I did, the more the more my ego became, because my self-worth was built on how I perform, and my identity was in my performance. And that's why I needed to change my identity to actually move forward, to actually be 12% body fat year round without tracking calories, to actually be the man my wife loves, to be the man that is able to take care of her. Now she's gonna love me regardless, but I want to be the man who actually is actually leading her, right? A lot of men, we want that, but no one tells us how to do X, Y, Z, how to take care of the family, how to be the man of the house, how to be lean, how to work like a beast. No one tells you that. Now, I'm not going to tell you how to do your work at work, but what I am going to tell you is, from my work, you're not going to find yourself in a situation that is always questioning if he can get into shape effortlessly. And I say effortlessly with a grain of salt, because you're going to have to put in some hard work. Identity work is very hard to do. But once you work on the right thing, and once you arrive at point B, you're going to find yourself working, behaving in a way that is so much easier than trying to restart, use willpower, push through your weeks, and then all of a sudden it doesn't work out. Now that process is not it's not worth it. I've been there, I've done that. What you want to do is work on the actual problem, move forward, and then live peacefully, and not have fitness always on your mind. That way you can actually be the husband you want to be. So when it comes to identity, let's go back to the example of missing a workout. A lot of men miss a workout and feel bad because they put their self-worth in their performance. Again, a lot of men feel bad because they put their worth in how they perform, in their achievements and success. Well, as a Christian man, if you're a Christian man, you're going to really resonate with this. Our self-worth is in Christ, right? Jesus, God himself, tells you that you are worthy already, not because of anything you've done, but because of what he says you are. You are worthy because of Christ. That's it. End of the story. So why are we feeling bad and worthless if we miss a workout? It doesn't make sense. And so that's the kind of work that I do with men, right? We settle your identity, we stabilize it where it is already at, because no matter how you feel, by the way, feelings come and go. You're already a son of God, you're already a daughter of God. And I only work with men, by the way, but if you're a woman and watching this, you're already a daughter of God, and that is God's word. You're a co-heir with Jesus, with Christ. You are an heir of God, and nothing will change that, no matter if you miss a workout or if you do a workout. That's it. That's it. So the layer of work that I do with men, we go past the system. We focus on the man so that he can actually make the system work. And the third thing right here is relationships. But before I talk about that, I need a sip of coffee. With relationships, I'm not talking about relationships with people. I'm talking about relationships with fitness, with a nutrition plan, with yourself even. And that's going to lead to a perspective shift. Now, with relationships, look at this man right here. He is looking pretty good. He gained 18 pounds of muscle in 4 months without tracking calories, without any strenuous approach, without his system working against him. And he was able to visit his son every single week, eventually develop a relationship with a woman that he was interested in, and was able to work with his mom as his business partner. And he was also just Yeah, that's it. Like he worked a lot. Okay, he had priorities. He had a body to take care of. He had work to focus on. He had a son to love, and he was able to gain 18 pounds of muscle without tracking calories, which is pretty cool. And so at one point he was telling me like, "Hey man, I'm trying to remember the story. Where was it? Uh, 1 second, please don't go away." He was saying, "Oh yeah, something had come up, right? This faucet in his apartment was leaking water down the cabinet, and oh no, I think that was a some no. I honestly forgot what exactly the situation was, but it doesn't really matter. I just want you to know that he was suggesting to push through it, to willpower his way through it. And a lot of men too, we have this unhealthy relationship, keyword, excuse me, relationship up here, which is the third thing. We have an unhealthy relationship with work and how to approach problems because we're taught by society and by the fitness industry that if you have enough discipline, you're going to eventually come through, right? That everything will come through. If you have enough willpower, you're going to lose the weight you want. If you have enough discipline, you're going to build the muscle you want. Now, I'm a firm believer in sticking to something and doing things that you don't want to do. But if you're always relying on that energy, you're going to burn out eventually. And people think that they just need to have more discipline. But that's not necessarily the case, because if that has already worked, you wouldn't want literally like you would be where you want to be. You wouldn't be struggling, you wouldn't be stuck. And it's okay to be all of those things, by the way. It's not really your fault, because chances are this is the first time someone has told you about identity work to get fitness results. And yeah, please don't feel bad. And so what happens if we change our thinking and our perspective on work? What if we change our perspective and think, okay, maybe I don't need to necessarily grind my teeth and push through. Maybe I just need a different perspective. Maybe I just look, maybe I just need to look at the situation for what it is and look at it at a different angle. Because a lot of those times when you do those, it's going to help you so much and save you a lot of mental energy and save you a lot of heartache, because you're going to burn out eventually if you keep relying on discipline. Now, yeah, I told you about this man. He lost some weight, lost some inflammation. This man was able to lose 50 pounds without tracking calories, by the way. And this man is an example of the system we built him. Okay. At the time, for this man, I was giving him check-ins, and yeah, like what any coach would do. I was giving him check-ins. I would give him nutritional support, guidance, and I gave him a meal plan. And he didn't track any calories, and he lost 50 pounds. Now, we didn't really do internal work, but imagine if we did. Imagine what kind of transformation would he have in the after picture. So the reason why I do identity work now is because, well, it goes back to this right here. If you don't have identity work, you're just going to be left with a system, and most coaches just do that. But the reason why the system work is because you do identity work and you have relationships. When you have everything right, the system works. And yeah, before I go, I want to share my story just to really hit the nail on the head. And examples really help. The more examples I give, the easier it is for you to understand it deeply at a deep level, and then take it and implement it yourself. So if you don't know me, this is something I struggled with for the longest time. It's this toxic energy. The energy of pushing through, the energy of taking on challenges, and not to throw shade at David Goggins, but it's that sort of energy. Now, that energy is good when the time is needed, But if you're always operating on that, you're not going to be where you want to be. And with your situation, right, you're trying to lead a family, build for the future, invest into your faith, and also do a good job at work, which takes most of your day anyways. And on top of that, level up your fitness and your health and your body. It's a lot. And I used to think that if I just push through more, I can do everything. I can be present with my wife, actually be mentally there with her, go to work for 8 hours a day, work on my business, and take care of my body and get the amount of sleep I needed to get. And guess what? One time after work, and this was actually, this may not be a good example of the identity work or the system work, because at that time my life was so negatively affected by my last job, or actually one of my jobs, that actually, yeah, actually, that's a story for another day. I want you to understand that there's more to it than pushing through. Because if you don't sit down with yourself and reflect and understand how you think and why you do things, you're not going to be in a place where much progress is involved. Because it takes a certain man to be consistent. Behavior doesn't come from just trying to do things better. It comes from changing the way you think, understanding the current way you think, and then naturally, it's going to take some time, but naturally you're going to behave differently. So most people will tell you just to take action, and sometimes that works because you are already the man able to do the action and be consistent. But what a lot of people don't tell you is the fact that maybe you're not, and that's okay. But if you're not, you need to take the time to understand why is that the case. Why do you put your self-worth in your performance? And once you start to understand that, and once you start to put in your self-worth where it needs to be, you're going to find yourself approaching fitness and approaching life in general a lot easier. You're not going to really stumble when failures happen. You're going to be able to move faster past them and get up quicker, which is the key here. The key isn't to be perfect, is to be able to recover as fast as possible. And then, once you do that 10, 20, 30 times, you're going to find yourself saving a lot of time overall in your journey and getting to where you want to be. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'm going to answer them. And yeah, that's the video. I'll see you later.